Everybody, this is Paul Angelo here. We have an amazing topic for today. We are going to talk about innocence. Has the gay culture lost innocence? Have all the gay men lost innocence? And maybe this is the struggle in the community right now. Maybe this is a direction to look for the solution to our existential issues in the gay culture, in the gay community today. And that's what we're going to explore today. You're going to find it very informative and exciting. So let's begin. I'm here at the Sunset in a park in Denver. Slightly different location than where we usually go to, but it's a beautiful location and we have a beautiful topic for today. You're going to love it. You're really going to love it. So let me show you around first. I bring you here. I especially bring you here if you live in a metropolitan city, so that I want to give you a taste of nature, because this is where you belong. This is where you need to go to more often. It's sunset here and it's just absolutely freaking beautiful. Mountains right in front of me and there's this big lake here. This is the southern part of Denver. Just an amazing place. I think I can show you even more. Check this out. So this is the place behind me. It's a big park. I'm going to turn around. It's very cool here. So where do we begin this discussion about innocence? I think we want to begin this discussion with identifying the meaning of it and then asking the question, why is it such a big deal? What's the big deal about innocence in the culture or in our personal lives? And the meaning of innocence is actually quite simple. Innocence is like the beginning of it all. It's the place that has not been covered up by layers of protection over and over and over. And protection from what? From the toxic culture out there, or the kinds of behaviors that is promoted by our culture that actually hurt us psychologically and destroy that innocence year after year after year after year. Now, the whole thing about innocence is that many times we lose that innocence through the kind of sex we have, through the kind of people that we have in our lives that are really hurting us on a consistent basis and we don't do anything about it, or the social environments where we place ourselves in, which may not be directly affecting our innocence, but gradually is sucking us into ways of being that take away the innocence from our lives. And I think when we talk about why this is so important is that when we lose that innocence, we are losing a certain aspect of humanity. Innocence, I think, is that place in our hearts where we have peace of mind. Peace of mind. When a baby gets born, the baby is completely innocent, oblivious to all the dangers, oblivious to all the drama, all the bad things that are out there. And because of that, it emits a certain energy of possibility. When we end up falling behind in our lives and enter into severe addictions like alcoholism, like sex addictions, like heavy use of drugs, you ask the question, has the innocence been lost? So one of the reasons why we want that innocence is because out of that innocence we have creativity, innovation, we have that pure passion, that passion. I think it's difficult to create those energies out of lack of that inner peace, inner calmness, or innocence. And I think we can ask the question, does the gay culture have that place right now? Do we have that place where we can restore ourselves, where there is that innocence that's preserved, that despite all the chaos and all the craziness out there, maybe there is a certain temple or some place that gives us a reminder of what innocence is like, how it's felt, and how it's embedded in a gay person or presence or identity or state of mind. When we think about shame, shame causes us to not look for that innocence anymore. Shame is about creating this state of ambivalence and indifference. It doesn't matter to want to be more beautiful on the inside. When I visualize innocence or lost innocence, I imagine lost innocence is kind of like a vibration that's very extreme on every level in every area of life. It's like the person is vibrating so much, some energetic something is missing, and there's this neurotic behavior, the outcome of lost innocence, and the vibration is like this. And then when you calm yourself down, when the innocence returns, it's like there's not a lot of vibration anymore. There's that calmness. The neurotic anxieties about anything and attaching one ego to all these things is no longer going on. The person is more stable. And part of that innocence is that awareness of the present moment as in its own way being full with everything that we need. It's the reconnection with yourself and creating environment, meaning your life, so that you give yourself what you really, really need. Not always what you want, but what you really need, and focusing on your needs a lot more than focusing on your wants. And an example of that is you want instant gratification with sex, but what they need is authentic human connection where you can share about yourself. You can have real intelligent discussions about what matters in life, so that you can question your assumptions, you can question the things that you believe to be true, so that you can correct them and you can grow as a person, right? So that is what you need. So then when we say, are we returning to the state of innocence? We can say, yes, I am returning to the state of innocence because I'm giving myself what I need, not necessarily what I want. And thereby I'm purifying myself because I'm really giving myself, refueling myself on levels that I need to refuel myself on the psychological, emotional, spiritual levels. So state of innocence is that state of mind, state of congruence where we are aligning our life to give ourselves what we really need, what's really important. And out of that, we become compassionate, loving, caring, because we've done all of that to ourselves in that process of regaining our innocence. We realized how much we were wounding and hurting ourselves with the bad habits, how much the self-limiting behaviors and conversations and inner thinking, how that has stood in the way, and how you have to connect your social environment to the habitual ways of thinking and the negativity, and then correct it on the bigger level, on the big picture level, by associating yourself with the right places. All of that is going to happen as you are giving yourself more compassion and love, because that's what it means, compassion and love. When you give that to yourself to regain your innocence, you are looking around you and noticing how much actually you give yourself what you don't need. And there's the switch into giving yourself what you really need. And on a kind of visceral level, it's no longer a game, that it's actually becomes this necessary thing that you surrender yourself to doing. And in the gay world, I think on the group level, we don't see that the desire to return to the state of innocence, because we have so much bombardment of the old-fashioned sexual innuendos kind of approach to life to resolve the shame about anal sex and sex in general. Those are old patterns. As we are repairing our innocence or our state of consciousness and going into the state of innocence, we need to reject those old-fashioned methodologies or ways of looking that are very simplistic, very tribal. We are much more complex than that, and there's so much more to gay life than what used to be the priority 30 years ago. And so in our journeys towards innocence, we need to see what's happening on the cultural level, not look for hints and help from the culture. You need to give it to yourself, and you need to choose to be around people that promote this kind of approach to life, that to have innocence, to give yourself what you need, is important for your wholeness, for your spiritual growth, for your well-being, for your future, for your relationships. Everything in your life will be better when you're more innocent, or when you're going into the direction of that innocence. You will have fewer conflicts, because your needs will be met. You will not be triggered because you're going to be content, because you're focusing on really what matters this time. And the initial impulses and the initial habits of having everything immediately, that will naturally melt away. And you will reconnect yourself with that wave, that ocean wave of forward momentum, because you're operating from a certain pure state of mind. Pure state of mind. So check your surroundings, check your environment, check within yourself. Are you aligned? Are you congruent with what you need? Are you around people and circumstances? And are you around ideas that lift you up or take that innocence away from you? And that is the great place to start with your transformation. On the more practical day-to-day levels, you can do meditation. You can do silent meditation, 20 minutes. You can do guided meditations for an hour. You can do meditations and visualize that you have a diamond at the center of your chest and you're breathing through that diamond into your body. I do this all the time. I close my eyes and meditate, and I imagine there's a diamond at the center of my chest. And I breathe through that diamond into my chest. And it gives me that reconnection, that very deep visual understanding of what innocence, what clarity, what beauty is. And the diamond is the symbol for that. So quiet time also, so meditation is really great for that. Being in solitude is really great because you are pruning yourself away from all the conditioning, from all the anti-innocence behaviors. So it takes a little bit of time to purify from that, and solitude is great for that. Maybe a retreat, maybe a traveling experience into nature by yourself. Wonderful, wonderful way. We're going to wrap up the discussion about innocence in a moment. So let's summarize what innocence really is, why it's so important for gay men, for you, for me, for everybody. We're going to look at it first from the perspective of energy and potential, that when you're in a state of purity, in a state of innocence, where we're not contaminated by fears, by bad events that we always believe are going to repeat themselves, attracting people that are bad for us and hurting our innocence. When we are not in those places, we are very powerful. You can meet your goals faster. You can achieve more things in life. So the concept of innocence also relates to productivity, creativity, achievement, ambition, passion, purpose, clarity. All that stuff, when it's congruent with your sense of identity and when you have purified yourself or reached that state of innocence through therapy, through coaching, through working on yourself, you're more successful. Another angle to look at this is the angle of cultural innocence in our gay culture. Do we have that? And obviously we don't. And when you hear this, don't panic, but become aware that there's an extra amount of work that you're going to have to do on your level, on yourself, to keep protecting yourself from the loss of the innocence, so that you don't do the things that are dysfunctional. And nobody's going to teach you how that works unless you are with coaches and in a community that promotes that. But outside of that, it can be pretty crazy, because most of these things are not part of the awareness of man in the culture, the men that you meet on hookup websites, online dating websites, even at some of the parties these days where we're just surrounded by all kinds of dysfunctions, and you see that and you feel it. So we need to protect ourselves from that and only associate yourself with people that help you keep that protective sense of self that's strong, that is pure, that has a sense of intention about life and purpose. And of course, this is obviously really good for your relationships, because now compatibility is based on what you really need. You start noticing things in people that you previously didn't see because you never paid attention to your awareness, but what you really needed. There's a huge difference, the things that you need versus what you want. And we need to listen to ourselves first to discover what we need. And then once we know that, then we give that to ourselves, and our sense of innocence is preserved. And longer term, this is a wonderful way of life. And it's a way of life that pays attention to all the things and energies and people, consequences, bad and good, of our actions. And as a tendency of restoring innocence, we always self-correct. When we choose to go towards innocence, we always self-correct. It's always a good thing. And the concept of innocence is not really as complicated everybody knows what innocence is deep down in their gut feeling. You know what that is. I don't need to teach you any of that. You already know. And in this video, I hope that I kind of maybe showed you that this is the direction that we need to go, all of us in the gay community, everybody. So I hope you enjoyed watching this video. For more videos like these, please visit my personal website at paulangelo.com. There's a lot of wisdom there that you're not going to see anywhere else. And for those of you who are ready for an instant transformation of your social life, please visit the website biggayfamily.com. All right, my friends, thank you so much for watching. Until we talk in the next video, as always, my friends, go out there, think big, stay present, and be a leader in your life today. Signing off. Talk to you soon.